Hello, Grumpy Old Fart here. Um, I do a lot of videos on uh, unexplained phenomena, UFOs, old UFO cases, things like that. And I did a video on paranormal programs that my wife and I enjoy. Because it's hard to find good ones these days. There's a lot of them out there. The market is virtually saturated. But it's hard to find good ones. And so I did a video on a couple of TV series, and I think one is a series of movies, but the other one is a TV series called The Dead Files. It's really good. Um, it annoys me when you get the guy on the camera says, "Ooh, what was that? You don't know. You didn't see it. Did you hear that? No, we didn't. You know, that kind of thing." So that annoys me. So I did that video, and I thought it was pretty good. A friend of mine asked me the other day if I've had paranormal experiences. Do I believe in ghosts? Well, I don't know. I honestly don't know. As far as UFOs, the UFO, excuse me, the Navy says that UFOs are real. So, you know, who am I to argue with them? They're the experts, as it were. Uh, so, and I mentioned this in another video. I do see lights in the sky where I work. They're fairly common. They don't look like airplanes or helicopters or anything I can identify. So they are technically unidentified. And they're moving around in the night sky, so they're flying. And if they're emitting light, chances are they're an object. So unidentified flying object. Are they aliens? I have no clue. But I see them from time to time. On my old phone, I could get photographs of them. My old flip phone. They don't seem to want to show up on my new iPhone. The iPhone that my wife got. This thing here. Okay. I don't know why. They won't show up on those. I've taken multiple pictures of various different ones, and they don't show up. So, if they're not showing up on your phone when you take a picture of them, you know, take from that what you will, because that defies my logic. At any rate, so I do see stuff I can't explain. So, as far as ghosts or spirits or whatever, um, I used to work at the hospital in a little town called Clovis, and it's a great hospital. They do good work. Um, but I worked in housekeeping there years ago, and one night I worked the evening shift. I used to get off around midnight or so. Excuse me. So if you've ever been in the hospital in Clovis, you'll know what I'm talking about. They have the main entryway, and then over here they have it's not ICU. It's one of the wings where they keep patients. They have rooms in there and the whole nine. It's one of the wards. And there's a hallway that runs across there. The front entryway is here, and the hallway runs all the way across, and it goes all the way down to pediatrics. I believe it was pediatrics. Anyway, there was a time clock right there at the corner, and this other girl, and I was going to give her a lift home because she never arrived. So I'm waiting there. We're waiting by the time clock to clock out. And if you look down the hallway, we were standing there, and you're talking, and you look down that hallway, past the entryway is the gift shop. And beyond that, there's an exit that goes out into the patio, and we called it the smoking patio because that's essentially what patients and employees used it for. It was essentially a little outside place where you could sit and relax and whatever. But because they adopted that no smoking policy like every other hospital, you had to have some place to go to smoke. So at the time, that's where we smoked. I like a good cigar once in a while. Anyway, so we're standing there waiting, and down that hallway, you can see in front of the gift shop and beyond. Well, in front of the gift shop, a tiny little lady named Irene was there, and she picked up her bucket and she walked around the corner going out to the smoking patio. And we both saw it, Maria and I both. And she said, I didn't think Irene was working tonight. And I said, I don't think she was either. That's weird. Huh. So we waited and we clocked out and we were watching. We waited, we clocked out. And before we left, we walked down to the gift shop, and beyond that, made that turn where she went. And we went out to the smoking patio. Turns out my other friend, Michelle, one of my coworkers, was there. And her, at the time, was her boyfriend, now it's her husband. They were out there. And I said, where's Irene? And she said, well, Irene is not here. She didn't come in tonight. And I said, we saw her. She came out here. And John was there too, and he said, no, nobody came out that door. Not in 20 minutes or so. And I said, well, dude, we saw her. And you have to understand, there's no place else to go. Unless she did a Spider-Man up the wall and vanished through the ceiling, there's no place else to go. Okay, it's right there. There's only one door. So we had a chuckle about that and went on about our business. Because we know what we saw. There was two of us, we both saw it. Nobody made it up. Nobody's, So anyway, excuse me. Next night we go in, and there was a lady there named Bernice. She worked the later shift, and she came in, and I said, Maria and I saw the weirdest thing last night. She goes, what do you mean? So I explained what we saw. She goes, oh, you saw, what was her name? There was Kumika, I think her name was. I think she used the name Kumika. And I said, who's Kumika? And she goes, okay, let me explain. Kumika looked exactly like Irene from the back. You couldn't tell them apart from a distance. They're both tiny little older ladies, So Kumika, and I believe that's the name, I'm going to use it because, at any rate. Kumika had worked there for years and years and years and had retired. On the day after she retired, they called her into work because they were short-handed, and she was so dedicated, she went in and worked. On that night, the night after she retired, she had, I want to say, a stroke and died and collapsed right there in front of the gift shop. And so, and then they medevaced her out, and on the trip out, she died. That's my understanding of the situation. So, do I believe in ghosts? Maybe. I may have actually seen one. And I didn't make it up. I'm not, it's not a hallucination because somebody else saw it. And there's corroborating testimony, witness testimony, whatever, from Bernice. And so, anyway, that's my official ghost story. Now let's get on to I got two other quick stories to tell you. My wife and my son, her whole family, as a matter of fact, are, I hesitate to use the word mediums, sensitives, but they see things. Okay? And since we got married, there has been something in our house. And I know that this is going to sound weird, but it's helpful. It helps to find things. At one point, my son, when he was very, very young, was crying because he couldn't find this particular electronic toy that he liked. And we were going through the house trying to find it. And we tore his room up. We tore our room up. We're just looking everywhere. And finally, we're getting frustrated. And my wife says, well, I'm going to go through his toy box one more time. I said, okay. So she sits in the middle of the floor, and she's going through his toy box. And I said, well, I'm going to go back and start in the kitchen and come this way and look. She says, okay. So I go look in the kitchen, and I'm looking through the rest of the place, and I can hear her in there rummaging through the toy box the whole time. So I finally make my way back to the bedroom. And my son has a number of toy boxes, so she's like on the third one when I get there. And as I walk in the room, behind her, sitting on the floor, is this toy that we've been looking for. It's right there on the floor. It's not a foot behind her on the floor. And I'm like, cool, you found it. She goes, what? I said, look, it's right there. She turned and looked, and she says, where'd that come from? I said, you must have found it in the toy box. She goes, no, it wasn't me. That wasn't there when I left. I promise you it wasn't. Um, so, you know, and there's another story that's interesting. This was about midday, and my wife and I and my son were at the house. I had the day off from work, and so I asked Hadrian. I said, "Do you want to go to the post office to get, to get the mail?" And he said, "Yeah, sure." So we go and we get in, because I put him on my lap. He likes to steer. I'm there, of course, but he likes to pretend like he's steering. At the time, he was very young. So we went to the post office. We had a good time. We were gone maybe 5 or 8 minutes or whatever, because it's just down the road. And we live in a small village. So anyway, we go down there, and we get the mail, and we come back. And he's excited because he drove. And so I'm getting out of the vehicle, and he jumps down, he runs out, and he swings that gate wide, he runs in there, mommy, 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 5-row. And I've got the mail in my hand, and I'm shutting the door, and I'm going over there and go behind him, shut the gate, and I can hear him in there talking to mommy, and mommy's talking back. Cool. No problem. So I go in there, and Hadrian is alone in the living room. And I heard him talking to his mom, and I heard his mom talking back. They were laughing. So I go in. He's alone in the living room, and I can hear the shower running in the other room. So I go back in there, and his mom's in the shower. And I said, "Baby, were you just in there?" She goes, "No, I got in the shower as soon as y'all left. I've been in here the whole time." I said, "Well, who's Hadrian talking to?" She goes, "What?" So I go back in there, and keep in mind, my son's very young. And at the time, he's very young. And he said, "I was talking to the lady." I said, "What lady?" "Oh, she's not here now." So, "Well, where was she?" "She was in the corner." "Who is she?" "I don't know. She's a nice lady. I see her from time to time." So, yeah. That's enough to freak a parent right out. But, like I said, whatever's in the house is helpful, beneficial, benevolent. So, we don't really mind that. When we find something in a place where we've looked, we're looking for something, and we look in place A, and then later on we come back to look again, and it's there. We offer our thanks to the helpful spirit, whoever it is or whatever it is. Like I said, it doesn't seem harmful, so, And now for the funny one. This one's hilarious. Excuse me. I'm going to work one night, and the road that I go down is a county road. It's very dark. There's a section of trees that, for some reason, moonlight doesn't get in there, and it's like an abyss. It's like you're driving literally through an abyss. It's ridiculous. There's no light in there. There's nothing. And deer like to run out, so you slow down and you go through there. And so I'm driving. I'm driving towards that. I'm not there yet. I'm driving towards that. Excuse me. So, there's a road ahead, and this road, and a vehicle comes out, turns, and gets onto the road ahead of me. And it's dark. All I can see is their lights. So that's fine. No big deal. And because they made that turn, they're going slower than me. So I'm catching up to them. I'm getting ready to start slowing down, And I notice one of their tail lights is blinking on and off, kind of erratically. Not in a steady pattern, just, kind of thing. So anyway, I get closer, and I notice there's something running along behind the car. And it was weird. I was like, holy crap, something's running along behind the car. So I slow down a little bit, and I'm behind him. And as I get a little bit closer, it looks like a person. There's a shadow of a person in the taillights. I'm like, crap. So I don't want to, like, if this person falls, I don't want to, like, run him over. So I slow down a lot. I'm behind him, keeping pace. And so as they pass in front of a farmhouse where there's a little bit more light right before we get to these trees, I catch a glimpse of what it is that's running along behind this car, and it's all black. It's the shape of a person, but there's no features. It's all black. And at night, where I'm at, as eerie as it is, oh my God, it looked like a demon chasing that car. It looked bad. It looked scary. So I slowed down a bit. You know, and they go on through this really dark area. It's eerie, and that every time you go through there, it sets your, you know, at night, it sets your nerves on edge, because, you know, something's going to jump out in front of you, or, you know, a deer or something, or, you know, it's literally not good. Excuse me. Oh, check. So I'm following this car, and this car speeds up, so I speed up a little bit, you know, and we go over the hill. I'm going over the hill, and down there they turn and park. So I'm going past them, and I swear as I pass them, there's a black humanoid shape hanging on the back of that car. It looks like a demon hanging on the back of that car. And I got to work, and I excuse me, this apparently cat wants to be on video. At any rate, I get to work, and I'm kind of shaking a little bit, you know, not shaking, but shaken a little bit. And I tell one of my coworkers about it, and I'm like, dude, it looked like a demon on the back of that car. That was freaky. He goes, you didn't stop? I said, hell no, I didn't stop. I got a 357 Magnum. What's that going to do? I'm sorry, but what the hell am I going to do, you know? And, of course, he looks at me like I'm crazy, because it sounds like a crazy story. So, I want to say it's the next day or maybe the day after. I'm down here at the store here in the village, and I'm overhearing this guy talking about that night. And he says his wife was loading everything into the back of her hatchback, and she can fit everything in there. They're taking some stuff up to their storage there in Cimarron. And she can fit everything in there except for the dressmaker's dummy. And so, excuse me, he really wants to be on camera. So, she ties it onto the back of the vehicle, the back of the hatchback, and she's going to drive it up there. Well, it keeps falling off and dragging along behind. Kind of makes you feel stupid, don't it? But it just goes to show you, usually there's an explanation, even if it's absurd. There's usually an explanation for things that you see. Not everything is paranormal. Not everything is a demon hanging on the back of the car. Sometimes it's a simple explanation. What else can you say? Hope you folks have a great Christmas, and I hope you have a happy New Year. God bless one and all.